Hello, everybody. Welcome out to a very special episode 2 of the Pod of War Xbox podcast. I'm, of course, your host, UF Gizmo, joined this week, as I always will be on the Xbox podcast, by CW Lanky Craig Warren.
Dave, it's so fucking hot.
It's too hot, buddy. It's too hot. Some would say, fuck this shit.
Yeah.
But also joining us, Craigie, on his first appearance on the Xbox podcast, it's Xbox Live's very own Massive Das, Chris Mangeli.
Everyone.
I like to think that everyone was going, oh, who've they got? What guest have they got for the Xbox show? It's Pengy. Pengy's here. You right, Pengy?
Yeah, good.
He's got his green shirt on. He's got his little picture of Phil Spencer on his desk. He's ready.
No, my shirt is blue and red.
There we go. So he's let himself down again. He's supporting AC Milan again. But anyway, boys, it's another week, and we're going to talk about some very exciting things in the world of Xbox. But before we get to that, now, Pengy, I don't know if I believe you watched the episode last week. Or last time, and we start with an icebreaker on this show, so we're going to do another icebreaker. And boys, there's a question for you today. So last time we had controllers, and we're going to talk about controllers at least once today. But this time, boys, if you could have one special edition console on Xbox, be it Series X or Series S, what would it be? Starting with Craig.
I'd have the fucking Halo one that I tried to buy for God knows how long, and I couldn't bloody get it. It was a joke. I tried so hard, Dave.
I sense you're still quite bitter about it, Craig.
I tried so hard. Because that is a beautiful looking console, and it came with also a limited edition controller as well, which you could only get with the console. I would have bought that controller on its own if they did it, Dave. But they didn't, because you could only get it with the console that I tried to buy.
No, it's very unusual to not be able to buy a Halo controller with Halo. I think this is the first time that happened, actually.
Yes, because they did the limited edition.
They did the
series Elite.
Yeah.
Yes, which I didn't really want. It's a pretty controller. I just don't really need an Elite controller in my life nowadays.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd have that bloody console, Dave. It was sexy, and I wanted it. I tried, and it's probably like stupid amounts of money now. So yeah.
Apparently, it's still 500 quid for a box one in CEX for if you like one.
Yeah. Sad times.
Pengy, what about you?
I'm trying to think what special edition Series S's and X's they've done.
Well, they haven't done any apart from Halo.
Well,
officially,
yeah, okay.
Officially speaking. Obviously, there's hundreds of unofficial ones, such as the Oreo Series S, which is one of my favourite ones.
Yeah. I don't really know. Sorry, Dave.
Get him on an Xbox podcast, and he can't answer Xbox questions on the fly, Craigo.
No. If I could thought of one, I definitely want.
You're asking Chris Pingley to have an original thought, Dave.
I know. I've tried.
He needs a script, all right?
I almost wrote one today. I was like, no, we'll let Pengy think for himself. So for me, then we'll run away from Pengy. I love the Series S, and I think it's a beautiful little machine. And we're obviously going to talk about it later as well. But I just want them to have controller parity with the Series S. So if they do a special edition controller, just want that color in Series S. So be it the Remix Series S, or the Red Series S, or the Blue Series S, or the Opie Series S. You know what I mean? I think that would look really cool. Such a small machine as well, and they're so much cheaper than the Series X. I think you buy more than one, because that's the point of the console. That would be the one you give to your kids, or you give to your spouse, or whatever. So more Series S colors. That's
Yeah, I can see generic colors. Like here's the red one, here's the blue one.
Right, you got the controllers already, right? You do the green one. I think it would be cool. But there you go. There's our icebreaker.
I can't see him doing here's the Forza one, like the Forza controller Craig's got. That'd be a bit.
No, I mean, to be honest, they're very reluctant to do officially sold console bundles. But now there's more supply, you might see a bit more. But we'll wait and see, I guess, is the answer, boys. But yes, that's the icebreaker. So let's move on to the first section of the podcast, what we've been buying, what we've been playing. Pengy, have you bought and played anything on Xbox?
I have played nothing on Xbox, but I have bought something on Xbox.
Right, Pengy, what have you bought?
Right, so as you know, I think it was on the main podcast, yeah, I mentioned that I sold Forspoken, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I also sold Theatre Rhythm as well on the Switch. So sold both of them, and I reinvested that money in buying a copy of apparently one of the best games ever made. We will find out, as I've bought on Xbox, Elden Ring.
That was a poor decision, wasn't it?
I have that digitally that I've never played.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad you bought it on Xbox, Pengy, because the very small chance we play that game, we can play in co-op.
Yes.
Exciting. Obviously, you bought that today, didn't you? So you haven't played any of that yet.
I bought that. Oh, I don't remember when it came. Yeah, it came quite a while ago now. I installed it, but I've been playing Street Fighter.
Lovely. Well,
which is available on Xbox.
But you've not been playing it on Xbox, so
No.
we won't slander this podcast by having the enemy in it. Well, I'm glad that you said that, because I presumed that the game I've bought, Craig would be the most disappointed in, but you're less likely to play that than I am. What I've bought, Craigo. So would you like me to reveal for you, Craigo, what I purchased today?
Go on, say what you've wasted your money on.
Oh, it's definitely a waste of money as well. On the latest episode of Our Game in Taunton is shutting down, and I work in town, I obviously pop in on my break. There were some things that tempted me, Craigo. I actually texted you, and I was like, I should have just called you, because there's a game you want in there on their 3 for 2 pre-owned at the minute, and we could have done a deal and got some shenanigans done. So
Sure, yeah.
But you'll go in there tomorrow. You'll make your money back. The game you want's in there. 15 quid. It's been there for ages. I think that the game, like 4 of the games in that series are in that 3 for 2, Craigo. So there you go. I did see Halo Infinite Steelbook Edition, brand new for, I think it was £8. I didn't buy it on this occasion, but I was bloody tempted for no reason, Craigo. Bloody tempted. But what I did buy is a very unique game exclusive thing, boys. And it was 50% off, because they, quite frankly, I was amazed they had any, and I was amazed that they haven't just put them in the bin. And that is the Redfall Bite Back Edition upgrade box, Craigo. That I got for 50% off, which was £15. So what it is essentially the ultimate. Like me and Craig partake in the ultimate edition they put on for the Game Pass owners, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was a game exclusive physical version of this. Is a steelbook, like a jacket patch, some like stickers, and then obviously all the codes for the games. And I saw it and I was like, I'm a fool, why not? There's one for the shelf. I do actually want to play Redfall as well. It did actually get a 20 gig patch today, Craig, which I didn't know about when I bought it. I got home and I was like, oh, 1.1, not the 60
no.
FPS yet, but some fixes at least, Craig. But yeah, so I know
we're jumping ahead a little bit. I love they didn't show that at the actual showcase.
There was no announcement. They put a patch out the day after. Yeah. You might see it extended, perhaps, but I doubt it.
I doubt it.
But yes, I'm now the proud owner of a Redfall Steelbook, which is quite funny to me. It joins Assassin's Creed Valhalla Dawn of Ragnarok, which I have a similar package with, which is just a Steelbook, some shenanigans inside, and the code for the DLC. But yeah, I love wasting my money. So yeah, that's my Xbox purchase of the week. As for games,
they are actually doing the same with Starfield, a physical upgrade.
Yes, they did actually do it with Forza Horizon 5. And had they had that in there, I would have bought that as well. You've had no reason, because I already own it. I would have just sold the code. But yes, they have started doing this with the Ultimate Editions. Unfortunately, in England, it tends to be tied to game. And that is obviously going to be a problem for us going forward in the little Sports Direct. But yeah, I did see it. And I was like, you know what? That's quite a fun idea. But yes, they are doing it for Starfield, and they are obviously going to do it for probably the main Forza. But we'll talk about that in the show. But in terms of played games on Xbox, I've got a nice big old list of backlog. So I've been trying to start working my way through some of that. So I was playing some Psychonauts 2 last night, played a couple of hours of that. The game is somehow got better looking than when I last played it, which is quite funny, which was 2 years ago, according to my achievements. But yeah, working my way through Psychonauts 2, really enjoying the couple hours I played last night. I mean, I enjoyed the game when I played it the last time, but as per usual, I just stopped because something else came out. So I've been playing some of that. Obviously, we've been playing Age of Empires. Me and Craig are on a 7-game win streak currently, ranked, I believe.
Yeah, I don't really know what's happened, Dave. I actually went back and looked. We've won like 9 of our last 10.
We've decided we're good at the game now. Like
Yeah.
all of Damon's nagging for us has actually paid off, and we're now making lots of villages and having armies and just generally being little badasses. And our rank is, I mean, I think we're in the top 2,500 in the world in the Xbox ranking. So which is quite funny to think about.
Is the Xbox and PC kept separately?
It's
from the ranking?
gamepad and
Mouse and
combined.
keyboard.
Yes.
Okay.
So, but we're in the gamepad scenario. Me and Craig are quite highly ranked, to be honest with you, considering how many people play that game, which is quite a lot. But yes, that's kind of all I've played on Xbox. That's all I've played in general. I don't really game a whole lot, as I talk about every time we do one of these shows. But it is only Monday. There will be some gaming tonight, and there will be some gaming tomorrow. So by the time we next get to one of these shows, we'll have lots more to do. Yeah, Game Pass is great, isn't it? So Craigo, what have you bought? What have you been playing on Xbox?
Bought nothing. Although there is something ordered, which is a spoiler for up ahead.
My God.
In terms of playing, all I played is more Hogwarts. And that game's still great. I don't think I mentioned it last time, that the performance is not spectacular.
No, it's not. I think I'd mentioned that when I talked about it as well.
It's not too bad when you're not in the Hogwarts castle bit. When you're in Hogsmeade and in the rest of the open world, it's pretty good and pretty stable. But when you're in the actual Hogwarts bit, I think that it's quite like packed in that castle. Like, there's a lot of like layers. It's there's a lot of like NPCs and stuff, and it really does chug along in places. Which is interesting. Yeah, you can see the mid-gen upgrades on the horizon when you play games like that, I think. But it's not too bad. Like I said, it's mainly when you're just walking around the castle, which like you can only really walk around that anyway. You can't like fly or like there's no like real combat there. It's just like a little hub world, I guess. So if it's going to be poor performance wise, it's the best place it could be, I guess. But yeah, the game's still great. I think I'm like 16, 17 hours in now.
Nice.
So yeah, I just keep cracking through that because it is great shit.
Lovely stuff, Craigo. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the finished review of that, because there's another game that's come out this year that I think people have already kind of forgotten about, in what has been a particularly good year so far for third-party games, I must say. But yes, we'll talk about that on our main show. So, reason we're here today, reason we've taken Pengles away from his loving PlayStation and Switch embrace, and MetaQuest embrace, of course, is to talk about the Xbox Showcase 2023. So that happened. We watched that yesterday. I've rewatched it a couple times, actually, funnily enough, just to get some sort of feel for it, like to make sure it's not just sort of like your guttural reactions. So before we get through to going through what everything is in everything was shown. God, English is difficult in this heat, isn't it, Craig? But what were you all thinking? So let's start with Pengy. Pengy, out of 5, how would you rank it and why?
I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Okay, and why was it only a 3.5 for you, Pengy?
3.5, I think, is pretty good. To be honest, yeah. I feel it's just missing that one last thing. I know we ended with Starfield, and Starfield, I guess we're talking about the thing. It just seemed to like miss that one big. Even if like it was just a tease of like a Gear 6 or something, or obviously there's been rumors or stuff that people want like the Gears 2 like remake or something, or a little look at Perfect Dark or something like that. Was just missing that little thing to put over the edge.
Craigo, what about you?
So I'm similar to you. I kind of went back and watched. I haven't watched the whole thing again. I watched about half of it, I think. I watched it like on my own originally, and I've been watching like the kind of funny reactions. Must have about halfway through. Mainly just like when I watched it on my own, I was like, "This is like really good," and then I was like, "Well, I'll go back and watch it again and see if it was just like the fanboyism that got me there, or if it was actually really good." And I was watching it again. I was like, "Oh, this is like a really good show, actually." But I think not only were the the games that they showed looked really good. But I actually think like the consistency of like how good the trailers were, even for like the third party stuff, and even for stuff that, like I have no interest in. Like you're watching the trailers, you're like, this is a really good trailer. Like we'll get to it a bit, I know, but like even like the city skylines, like you're watching that, you're like, oh, this is a really good trailer. I have no interest in this game, but like I can appreciate this. And I feel like that was pretty much like just consistent throughout like the whole thing. So I'd probably give it quite high actually. I'd probably give like a 4.5. I think like they could have it could have been better. They could have showed like some actual Hellblade combat or something. There could have been more a big first party surprise for this year or something. There can always be more, can't there? But I genuinely thought it was a very good, very solid show.
Nice, nice. Like I said, I've rewatched it a couple times myself, and I thought, I mean, I agree with you, Craig. I think the consistency is incredibly high from start to finish. I think the least consistent part of the show is arguably the start of it, because it was just sort of like really early trailers, like CG'd or like in-engine CG'd kind of trailers for those first 3 games. But like you said, when I sat back and I actually looked at what was shown, what was announced, what's coming when, for me it has to be a 5 out of 5. I just don't think they can do much more. Like there's always a game they could show, but like every dream game can be shown. But when you go through the list, and we're going to talk about it, we go through the list of games that are coming to Game Pass. Like I know, like I think some people, probably the one for Chris that would have been half a point is if Persona hadn't leaked, because if Persona 3 remake and Persona 5 spin-off is a Game Pass day one game and we didn't know about it, like that's insane. You know, those games weren't even on Xbox a year ago, and now we're getting the remakes day one on Game Pass. You know what I mean? Like showing the new Yakuza that it's in a really interesting setting. You know what I mean? With a character we know and a gameplay style that we're going to know. Having the first showcase of Star Wars Outlaws, having Payday 3, having all these games on top of then showing what I think is arguably the best. Like the closest thing I can compare to that Starfield bit at the end is the E3 where Nintendo only showed Breath of the Wild. It's just such a deep dive into that game, and that is the game. Like that is their game. Like if that game isn't good, they're never going to make a good game, right? So it's like having all of that with little sprinklings of games we were not expecting, little sprinklings of even some of the indie games they showed. Even I was like, oh, that looks like a fun ass game. Like, and I don't really know what else they can do that's realistic. And when the latest game they showed was Fable that doesn't have a date, and everything else is at latest 2024. So if Perfect Dark isn't ready to be shown, they can't show it. If Gears isn't being made, they can't show it, can they? So it's like, sure, it's a bit strange to have an Xbox showcase that has no Halo, but if Halo isn't ready, you know, we've got this developer show tomorrow. So if they're going to show season 25 of Halo Infinite, that's where it's going to be, right? So it's like, I think in that regard, I don't know what much more they could have done without bloating it out, but like all the content they showed to me was pretty exciting. But yes.
I think it is crazy to think that there's like another show tomorrow for Xbox.
Well, that's what I mean, and we will get.
We're going to see like Cocoon, I'd imagine. Maybe
Probably Age of Empires 4.
Cocoon will be at the Annapurna showcase, won't it?
Yeah.
In the end of the month.
But I can see it being a both.
But we'll see more content. That's what I mean.
Well.
Like it's the Treehouse that Nintendo used to do. Like,
yeah.
And like, I know. Probably on our main show on the weekend, we'll compare all the shows, but like the things we've seen so far, like it's far and away the most content
there's
tight.
No comparison,
like
at all.
You know, as an Xbox player, like I'm looking at this and going, you know what? I think we buy many games this year, because it's like for everything that gets announced, and you do the Pengels maths of how long you've got to beat these games. You're like, I ain't gonna be beating stuff in time to go out and buy games. But anyway, let's get through what was shown. Craig, have you got your list?
Yes.
So, Craigo, without further ado, take us away with the Xbox Showcase 2023.
So I don't think this is in order, as these lists never are. You know, these journalists need to do better.
They go for the clicks,
I can
Craigo.
tell you what opened it, and I can tell you what ended it.
Nice.
Yeah, it does actually. It does start with Fable, so I'll give them that at least. Which they obviously shown, which people were kind of umming and ahhing whether it would be shown. And this kind of set the tone straight away. I thought this was like a really good trailer.
Yeah.
Looked fantastic. The only thing I was is it's kind of I feel like, and maybe you could probably repeat this a few times for Xbox and this show in general, but like this should have been the reveal trailer.
Yeah.
Like they shouldn't have done that trailer 2 years ago. This should have been the actual big trailer because it was so good. It looked so impressive.
Yeah, and having a well-known actor, like British actor in it as well, I think is just genius because it keeps the flavor of the original games while looking very modern. Obviously, we don't know how much of that was gameplay. I believe they said it was in engine, but
Yeah, it's in the engine.
yeah, so it's like we don't, there's no indication of what the game is really going to be. It looks like it could be kind of witchery, but British and funny. And yeah, I think as far as starting the show goes, I think it was a pretty good start.
Yeah, it was a pretty decent start. No date whatsoever, not even a 2024. No.
I think that's
no way
good
this
though.
is 2024,
Yeah,
though.
I think if you're going to open with that game, and especially with what your library is, and what you've got coming, like there's no point putting a date on it and disappointing people.
Yeah, definitely. Like, there's no point if they think this is going to be 2025, which is what I'd imagine it would be. There's no point putting 2025.
No,
so.
and even if you think it's 2024, you wait until it's 3 months, 4 months,
Yeah.
6 months out, and then next summer go, hey, it's coming November, and then bam,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So there's no point, especially because they've got so many 2024 games, they do have to balance it. But yeah, I thought in that instance it's fine. Like that's the second time we've seen the game, so
Yeah, definitely. Next up, it jumps. Like I said, it jumps all over the place. But the Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty trailer and release date. I think I had this on one of the predictions, but I got the date wrong because I thought it was going to be like this month, I think. But it is September 26th. Obviously showing off that Idris Elba is in it. It again looked really good. I've seen some people who like had hands on Twitter, and they're saying that like the work that they've done to improve the game since launch really shows through on this DLC. So it's definitely an exciting one, I think.
And the DLC is skipping last gen systems as well, so that mostly helps.
it's doing,
which is probably a good idea.
Yeah, it's doing the Horizon thing, right? So can't blame them. And my only worry is, and I feel bad for it, is it's going to be 3 weeks after Starfield. So
It is.
I don't know if that type of game is going to be something you're going to want to play if and when you've even finished Starfield. But I think it was really good. I have Cyberpunk installed on the console and sat on my shelf, and I've had it for a long time. And I keep getting close, and it's one of those. I saw that trailer with Keanu Reeves and Idris Elba, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is shit I'd love." So, yeah, really good show, a really good show for that DLC, and it's really, like you said, it's really impressive how far that game's come now, where people can be excited again. That's going to be more content for that game. So yeah, really cool trailer.
Yeah, a lot of the negativity seems to have gone away from that game now, which is fair play to them. Skip all over the place again. We had a trailer for Avowed, which shows some CGI and then some actual like first-person gameplay. It looked like, and also the date of 2024, which I think is what most people kind of expected. Tonally, it looked a lot different to what they showed on that like CGI trailer 2 years ago. But then I think if you've ever played an Obsidian game, you kind of know what you're getting totally. I personally, I was expecting the Outer Worlds, but medieval fantasy, and that's just what this looked like to me.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for this one. I was gonna say this is gonna be like their big holiday 2024 game, like Starfield is, but they've already confirmed there's gonna be more gameplay and stuff of it tomorrow. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is like pretty early in 2024 as well.
I can't believe I didn't see that. I can't believe they're showing more of us.
I think
it's one of the few that they're showing that. They're showing more Hellblade 2, and I can't remember what else they're showing. Oh, I think it might be Forza or something.
Yeah, I think they only had so much time. That's the honest truth. When like we were talking about earlier, like I genuinely think that they had to fit all these announcements in this hour. So I was like, I think if you've got a pretty much limitless amount of time tomorrow, plus they'll do streams all week, I believe. So but yeah, I was really impressed by Avowed. Actually, very impressed because I was kind of worried, like you said, Craig, that it was going to be a bit tonally different to the Outer Worlds, but to essentially get what looks like the Outer Worlds but fantasy. Looks really exciting to me because I think that team are really good at what they do. it's just another, and I didn't even realize it's part of the Path of Exile universe, which is really funny to
Yeah.
me, because obviously, of course, it is because they make Path of Exile. But it's yeah, really exciting actually. That looks like a really fun game, and it looks like the type of game that is perfect for Game Pass. So it's like, yeah, I'm pretty happy, and I do think it'll be early next year.
Yeah, if that's what like they're showing like gameplay and stuff like more. I'm pretty sure it was like one of the ones that listed more gameplay tomorrow. And like if they're doing that already, it's gonna be you gotta think like first half of next year maybe.
It's weird. I was watching. I've never played Skyrim, but obviously it does have a little bit like first person gameplay. I was like, oh, this looks like a like Obsidian Skyrim game. It really does.
Yeah,
So that was a big one, obviously. Next up, we've got the Black Xbox Series S with the 1 terabyte memory SSD, which is coming September 1st. I haven't seen the price in the UK. I'm assuming this is just the same price as a normal. Is this like more expensive than a normal S, or is this replacing
more
the S?
expensive
I think
because they got
it's
the 1 terabyte.
I think it's 299, I believe, but don't quote me on
Okay.
that. So
So it's like in
299
the
or
middle skew.
329.
Yeah, it's a sexy boy. I can say that.
Yeah, and it's a terabyte is perfect and it makes sense for that machine. It's
Yeah,
it's the
definitely.
one if I was going to buy a second console for myself or anyone else, that is the one I'd get. And
It
if
is
you're
290. It is 300 quid.
there we go. And for that
That
price, I
makes
think
sense.
if you're new to Xbox or you don't, or let's be honest, you're a Game Pass user, that is the perfect price and box for what you
Yeah,
need.
if I was gonna buy, if I didn't have a Series X and I was gonna like just go out and buy an Xbox, it would be this one or wait, because obviously being digital only, like the 500, like I know you've bought the memory cards and stuff for yours. This, the 1 terabyte. When you look at Starfield's 125 gig, that's soon filling up a system.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
especially with the S, because it's actually like 350 in it once everything's came
Yeah,
out. So
Yeah.
it
the
fills up
standard
fast.
S is just not enough for modern games.
Mm.
So they were
Yeah.
wise to have a new SKU, and it's really good to see.
Yeah, and coming around Starfield time makes sense as well.
Next up, we've got another first party, which was the Compulsion's new game, which was South of Midnight, which was a like in-engine technically, but very much a CGI trailer, basically. Looked very pretty, kind of like that claymation sort of style. Kind of had like a folky sort of music going on as well. It's where we didn't really know. This is probably the closest I'd say to like the trailer showed in the PlayStation showcase, because you didn't really learn a great deal about this other than the art style and the tone of it, I guess.
Yeah, it was weird that it followed Fable because I think it was probably the most similar game to Fable tonally. But yeah, again, it's that team hasn't done anything that I've played, so I will keep my eye on it. But yeah, again, a new game from their studios. It's interesting enough, but nothing really to say.
No, they didn't really tell us like what sort of game is it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I have to wait and see.
Next up, we've got the Star Wars Outlaws world premiere, which looked absolutely brilliant. And we've obviously just seen more of that, and it looked absolutely brilliant again in the actual gameplay part of it. So this is obviously a big get from to have at the showcase. Obviously, it's not this. This will obviously will be Game Pass, but I'm assuming this will be on the UPlay thing.
Yeah.
It'll be on
So you'll
Ubisoft
be able
Plus.
to subscribe for a £15 and play it in a month, which is very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we're going to talk at length on the weekend about Ubisoft as part of our sort of roundup of Summer Games Fest. But yeah, it's in general, even if you don't count what we saw today, it's just adding real value to Ubisoft Plus as a service on Xbox. Not sure, is that service available on PlayStation, Chris, or was it just the
Not at the
classics?
moment. It's supposed to be coming to PlayStation, but it's not
Yeah,
come. Yeah.
so you think of the games we know that they've had sort of like Xbox showings with stuff like that and Mirage and whatever else is coming. Like, yeah, I was pretty impressed. I was impressed by the Xbox trailer they showed for it yesterday, and then the gameplay today for me would be like, hell yeah, I'll get Ubisoft Plus for a month for that. Like, that looks like a game
Mm.
for people like us who love Star Wars, and it looks so much like 1313 that it can't be a coincidence to me. But I'm really impressed by the initial trailer and then really impressed by the gameplay of that we saw today.
Yeah, it did look very good.
Yeah, I think this is probably like, if we're doing most anticipated for next year, this jumps up that list.
It's
definitely.
high. It's high on the list.
Yeah.
Mm.
Next up, they showed Forza Motorsport. They didn't show a great deal, which I feel like it's the right thing to do because we've seen this a lot, and obviously it's been delayed a few times. The main thing we really wanted was the date, which they gave us, which is October 10th. So it's one of the 900 video games that are coming out in October. Apparently, that's the only month in the second half of the year, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's the only month that anyone could pick is October. But yeah, I mean, like I said, we've seen this like quite a lot in the past. They showed off; it looked pretty. They announced the expansion pack as well for it, which you get the Game Pass deal
obviously me
for.
and Craig are going to partake in, as we have successfully been talked into it every time,
Mm.
apart from
Yeah,
Red
I
Bull
might
in your
even-
case.
I might even pick a like this pass because it's one that makes total sense because you're going to be like, here's your new cars coming, and and plus a little bit earlier to play it.
Yeah, and that, to be fair, that and stuff will do get early access again. It's one of those. They were clever not to show too much because no one wants to watch a video of cars unless you're into cars. And if you're into
Yep.
cars, you've been watching the Forza live streams they've been doing monthly for the last
They've-
18 months.
They've got one, I think. I think it might be Tuesday after the Xbox extended,
Yeah,
which
they.
is going to show the new story mode or something,
Mhm.
which I don't know is going to be because in this trailer it showed you Corvette and Chevrolet. So I don't know if it's going to do like a story mode looking at those two. I know they're the cover cars, but I don't know if like some sort of like a historic story thing for those two manufacturers or something could be neat.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm all in. We haven't. They've been really smart for people like us because, well, particularly me and Craig, because we play Forza Horizon like religiously, like to a ridiculous degree. And the fact that we've had 2 Horizons, I believe, in between, maybe even 3 in between the last Forza Motorsport, I'm now far more inclined to play actual racing Forza than I was before.
100%. Yeah, I think the fact they were pumping them out so fast almost became like off-putting. But like I said, it feels like they must have taken the time with this one,
Mm.
which is it's exciting.
Yeah, and I'm very excited to see more tomorrow, and yeah, so that will be the game I pre-order the sort of ultimate upgrade edition for, and I will absolutely be playing that. That'll be my game all through October.
Hell yeah. Next up, we had another Xbox Game Studio, and that was In Exile's new project got revealed. It's Clockwork Revolution, first person, like Bioshocky steampunk sort of looking
Yeah, I was going
game.
to say it looked like steampunk
It's
Bioshock.
actually so. I saw. I don't know if you saw this Twitter thread, Pengy. The
No, I
person
saw
who made
Bioshock
the trailer for
trending.
Bioshock Infinite literally had like 10 shot for shot identical shots from their their like reveal trailer. So it's quite funny. It does look a lot like Bioshock Infinite, but crucially, it's on Game Pass. So it's one of those where I really like the look of it. Again, was a lot more along the line than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I was not expecting like I wouldn't. I think when we did our predictions on the last Xbox podcast, I think they said that they would show it, but I was expecting just like a little CGI and then like gone. But for them to actually show as much as they did, including some like first-person shootery gameplay, I was there. I was kind of shocked by that and how good it all looked as well. Considering they're a team that's only really made like top-down strategy games before, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Like that's what they're known for. So like to have a game look like that, have such an interesting hook, and as well, like obviously not have a date, which is good because I think there's no need. But yeah,
No,
really
I could
impressive
see that
showing.
being 2025 as well.
Yeah, again,
Personally, I would have
they've got
thought.
so many games planned for next year. There's no need to overdo it.
Yeah, definitely. Next up on the list, we have, oh God, saying this is going to be fun. This is the first of, is it 5 Japanese games that were revealed at an Xbox show, all from big publishers, which is just mental to say, really. But Metaphor ReFantasio is coming from the creators of Persona. Is this Atlas?
Yes.
It is. It's just like they've made a new
They got a
studio
new
for this.
team. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's Studio Zero, and I think it was called Project Re Zero, which I think we only had like teaser and concept art, and now this is obviously the thing. So it's like a whole new series. Because when I saw it kind of looked like a Shin Megami Tensei mixed with Persona, even though they're all both the same, but mixed with Persona a bit more. But it's like a totally new series from the director, I think, of Persona 5 is thing, and it looks more like fantasy Persona, and that sort of if that sort of makes sense. With like one of the like characters looks like an elf and stuff like that. I know there's like elfie and pixies and stuff in Persona, some of them, but it's like some main party member. So yeah, very excited for this. Knowing that
This is
studio
like
pedigree.
a Pengul's last Pengul's game in it right here.
Yeah.
I'm watching that studio. I'm like, oh, Pengul's is a happy boy right now. I'm glad that this didn't leak as well, though, because like at least there was
Yeah.
something from Atlas that didn't leak. I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously because it hasn't leaked, we don't know all of the details yet. Like obviously we know that the other two games from Atlas are in fact coming to PlayStation and Switch. Whereas currently we don't know if this is. I would imagine it is because I don't. They would have made a bigger point about it not.
They were said Xbox exclusive, wouldn't
Yeah,
they?
exactly.
Well, they didn't use sorry, so I don't think I saw the word exclusive the entire
No,
showcase.
I don't think they will because
I
of
think they want to use
because
it
of PC
Mm.
as well,
and
like,
because of the Activision thing. I'm going to
yeah, like
assume.
GeForce Now and all that kind of stuff. I don't think they want to risk it. So it's
Plus, if it was an exclusive, you think it would be in Game Pass? Well, it's not
Yeah.
in Game Pass.
no,
Yeah,
it's
So
not.
that's
You're
my
right,
first
but it's
thing. Yeah.
it's cool. Like I said, I've said before, like we've gone from years and years of not even having these types of games on Xbox now to have a brand new game from the director of Persona be shown first and announced and sort of tied to Xbox is really exciting. And it's a game that if it comes out at a time when there's not 1,000 other Game Pass games, like it's probably a game I'd consider buying because I do love those games. Nice big lengthy JRPGs as well, so it's great stuff.
I think we've just got 2024 at the moment, so
Mm.
you imagine it would stay away from.
Like I said, 2024
Persona
is looking
3.
ridiculous at the moment, isn't it? So
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Next up, we had the world premiere of a game from the Spiritfarer devs called 33 Immortals, which is a 33-player co-op raid game, which looked really cool. I thought, like the idea of just jumping in. I imagine there's going to be some sort of matchmaking system because no one has 33 friends. do they?
Yeah, I think
Bloody
it's
hell.
just going to be 33 people like playing at the same
Yeah.
time, sort of thing.
Which is a really cool idea. I thought it looked really good.
yeah, really
The
interesting.
The problem with the game is it's a roguelike, and roguelikes.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah.
Again, it's
It's in
one
Game
that
Pass,
we
though,
could
so
try and
it's-
co-op, and then if we liked
Yeah.
it, we'd keep playing. I think it's really is one of those.
Do you know what will happen though, Dave? You get your 2 achievements, and then you'll be on an episode of this and be like, I unlocked 10G in 33 Immortals.
Oh yeah, my percentage on
I'm
Xbox
very
will be
annoyed.
forever destroyed by Game Pass tempting me with its treacle tarts and its tasty
Mm.
wholemeal bread. But it did look interesting, really beautiful art style. So
Then another Game Pass reveal was Payday 3, which they started off showing CGI of, and I thought, God, this CGI looks pretty rough. Like, this is odd that they've chosen to show this. And then they started showing gameplay, and I was like, oh, this gameplay looks really good. I was like, how does the gameplay look better than the CGI they've done? Yeah, so that's coming this year, and it's coming to Game Pass on September 21st. Yeah, I thought the gameplay looked actually really fun. I thought the shooting mechanics looked great. I was quite surprised about that.
yeah,
It's one of those.
Go on, Peggy. You go.
I was going to say it's one of those games where if it wasn't in Game Pass or wasn't in like a subscription, I would have no interest in
100%.
whatsoever. But knowing it's on Game Pass and like you two might play it on multiplayer and stuff, and like September, which is a pretty stacked month. But if I'm using my Xbox to play Starfield, playing like Forza early or whatever, I can't remember exactly when it would be if it's early. Like, oh, I'm on my Xbox, let's play some Payday multiplayer, for instance.
Yeah, I think the fact it's coming to Game Pass means it stands a chance of us giving it a try, and then beyond that, we'll see. But again, it's on Game Pass, so let's go. Let's give it a try.
Next up, we've got the Persona 3 Reload, which was obviously leaked, unfortunately, coming day one to Game Pass early next year. Looks a lot different to when they showed the Persona 3 port was coming. I'm guessing they've done a lot of work to this.
Oh my god, yes, Craig, because it's
Mm.
essentially Persona 3 built in Persona 5 Royal. So,
Mhm.
absolutely going to be playing this as I've wanted to play Persona 3 for some years, and there has never really been a good way to play it. So, yeah,
I have good news and bad news for you, Dave.
I know all of the news. It's a remake of Persona 3, not
Three.
Persona 3
Yeah.
Fez or Persona 3
Portable. So
portable.
there's still not going to be a ideal way to play Persona 3 because there's going to be bits in Fez, there's going to be bits in Portable, and you're going to have this really good looking version of it. So there's going to be like they are adding new stuff, but based on the original of it. So there's going to be like the best looking version, but there's going to be two other versions with more content available, like the female protagonist, which this isn't going to have. So it's like just make one ultimate version of Persona 3 Atlas instead of
I'm
like.
happy for it. If it plays like 5, then I'm happy
Mm.
for it to be that way. Because my problem with Fez is it doesn't play very as well as 3 in terms of the combat, as well as portable in terms of the combat. But obviously Fez has more stuff. But I'm just happy for just a better version with better graphics that has better gameplay. Like that's fine. I don't need all the
Yeah,
extra stuff because the Fez content isn't even that good, and then the Persona 3 portable stuff is basically a female protag. That's like the
yeah,
difference.
which obviously we're losing in this one, but
Yeah, but it's
still,
fine.
and
It's
and
fine.
obviously watching the trailer properly, not like an Instagram post of a trailer, it looked way obviously way better. Then so I'm super excited for Persona 3 Reload.
Yeah, so big get for Game Pass, and then followed straight away with Persona. Obviously, it wasn't they kind of broke it up in the show,
Mm.
but yeah, the Persona 5 Tactica, which is
Mhm.
the 966th spin-off of Persona 5 at this point, right?
Yes, well, yeah, they're
Um,
going to do every letter of the alphabet. That's the plan.
yeah,
Like,
obviously like a tactics game, kind of like is it the Mario Rabbids games? But Persona,
yeah, I'm thinking more Fire Emblem and stuff.
yeah. And it's coming. They did give a day, November 17th,
Mhm.
and then obviously day one to Game Pass.
I'm
Does
very,
that be a big
very,
one
very
for you
excited.
boys?
Oh yeah, I'm
I need
super
to
excited.
finish goddamn um, Persona 5 Royal in order
Mm.
to be ready to play. Because it's like I love Persona anyway, right? And then you throw in a nice turn-based tactical game and then put it on Game Pass. Like, oh my
With little
god!
chibi
It's
characters.
like I can play that remote play on my Steam Deck. Oh, just put it in my veins, Gregor.
Yeah, and you got they do this with all of them, like the strikers. I can't remember, I think she's called Sophie. It's like is the new character, and it was Kasumi and Royal, and now we got I can't remember her name. The girl with the pink hair is like the new female character in this one. So that's what they do. So which one actually a sequel and whatever of Persona 5 and who actually knows? But yeah, very excited for this. Will it be better than Fire Emblem Engage? That is the question.
We will see.
Mm. If it
Could
is,
be.
then it's like my number 2 game of the year or something. If it is better than Fire Emblem Engage.
Exciting times.
Mm.
Next up, we have the first of the many live service games that Xbox had, where we were going to get an update every single showcase. And that was the first one's called Sea of Thieves, is doing a Monkey Island crossover. I can't imagine any of us really care, but it is cool to see that this game just carries on living and people are still loving it. Because
It did look cool, and I didn't play the Pirates of the Caribbean one. I don't know if you can still play it, but weren't they very story focused sort of thing? Which I remember
Yes.
when Sea of Thieves first came out, and I know there's been stories content over time, but I'm sure when they did Pirates of the Caribbean, they're like you can jump in, and this is like its own little single player like content or story thing. So I don't know like semi keen. If like, oh, I can jump in, I can just do Monkey Island. I get a full story of Monkey Island, hanging out with Guybrush and stuff like that. Then maybe.
yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah.
looks
I
that
mean,
way.
it's
It
what
does
this
look that
game
way.
needs, isn't it? Is
Mm,
these like story based
mm.
DLCs basically.
But this is weirdly something that feels like I would say for tomorrow, like the updatey free-to-play type games. Like that's
I
what.
don't know. I feel like they just probably have a much bigger audience than we probably realise.
Yeah, I
That's-
think Sea of Thieves has a ridiculous audience, to be honest. But
yeah.
yeah,
Going along with that kind of live servicey thing, we then had Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, which I'm not sure. Is this like
It's a new game.
just new features?
No,
It
it's
is a new game.
Yeah.
Oh, so someone's taking this very early on Fantasy Critic then.
Yeah.
Is what we're saying next year.
Yeah.
Okay. I was a little bit confused as whether it was a new game or not. I thought it was, but I was like, why would they do that? But okay,
Yeah.
I'll bear that in mind for January when we do our draft. Obviously, it showed off that they've added some like job mechanics, which actually look kind of cool. Flight Sim's not a game for me, but I thought that did actually look fairly decent. And then it showed the Dune kind of weird flappy limb flying machine, which was very cool.
it's
That movie's great.
DLC. That's DLC for the current Flight Simulator.
God, that's just confusing, isn't it? I don't think they worded that particularly well. But yeah,
And that's coming like really soon. That DLC.
November 3rd, apparently.
Yeah, I think that's when the second movie comes out. So
Makes sense. Makes sense. Next up, we've got Senua Saga Hellblade 2 was shown. Again, it was kind of like, oh, this is gameplay, but it was more like a kind of like a walking sim part shown of it. Didn't really see any combat, but it just did show next year, which is unfortunate for me on Fantasy Critic, but it wasn't counterpicked from either of you, so I can drop it. But again, what they showed looked great.
actually, I can see this being like the big holiday game next year.
Yeah, definitely. It's you can imagine it's gonna be something they're gonna really get behind because it does look fantastic.
Hell yes.
Next
Have you played
up,
the first Hellblade, Dave?
I tried. It was too scary.
Who's scary?
yeah, it's not a Dave game because you've got to play that game with like headphones on and shit. You Pengy and like you can just imagine
I didn't play it
Dave.
with headphones on, but I don't think
What?
it's scary.
You didn't play Hellblade with headphones on?
How was it scary? I just can't see how that
freaky,
game.
little bit
Because
freaky.
you've got
Pengy.
like people whispering in your ears the whole time. If you're a normal person, I swear when you load that game up, it literally says wear
It
headphones.
does, and I
It
did,
does.
and I was like, nah, I'm good.
Pengles, you've let yourself down there. You really have. When you play Hellblade 2, please wear headphones, for God's sake.
Guess what? I won't be wearing headphones.
You're a mental. Don't play it, Pengy. You don't deserve to. Next up, revealed, this is the first time we've seen this. It was Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth revealed for next year. Is this the game of the best game shown this whole summer showcase season, right, guys?
It's your game of the year next year, Cricket, I suppose.
I know.
Yeah.
This looked amazing. The trailer was brilliant. I imagine Ray was popping off. Basically Yakuza, but looks like it might be set in America, right?
Yeah, it is
What
like
would you
a dragon.
want?
It is like a Dragon 8. This is the Western title for it, so it'll be very interesting because Like a Dragon, Gaiden, the man who arranged his name, is set between 7 and 8. So it'd be interesting how if that sets up this with Ichiban being in the States. Who knows?
Who knows?
So Gaiden could be like really important to the.
All I know is that I've now
Series.
got to finish Like a Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, more games I don't have time to finish.
Yeah, I mean, Like a Dragon is amazing, Dave. So you just need to finish it anyway.
It is
It's so
installed,
good.
Cricket, don't worry.
Just play it. Back to servicey shit. They showed something for Fallout 76. They're still trying to kind of make good with this game. I don't know why.
It's funny because
but-
it's supposed to be a really good game now, but it's just they don't even have a Series X version of it yet, which is really strange to me.
Yeah, that is odd.
But yeah, it's allegedly quite a good game. But it's
Another thing that
spoiling it.
was I thought was odd. This just reminded me that when they were showing the Bethesda stuff, they made a very specific point of saying like presented by Bethesda.
Yeah, I think
Not
that's how
just
the deal.
Xbox Game Studio.
Yeah, I
Very
think
odd.
that's how the deal worked when they split them up. If my memory serves me.
Yeah. Next up, from Capcom, they revealed Path of the Goddess which looked like a
Oh,
action
I was going to say
kind of game.
you're not going to try to pronounce the full title.
Kunonitsugami, Pengi.
Ah, yes. Well done,
Kunonitsu,
Craig.
sorry, Gami. Path of the Goddess. Like an action like fantasy game. It's a very strange trailer, but kind of looked really good. It looked like they used some of the assets from Monster Hunter,
Yeah,
definitely.
when I first saw it, I thought, is this a second expansion for Monster Hunter Rise? But they just said they're finished with that game, and then it's like, oh, yeah, it's a completely different game.
Capcom is coming to Game Pass, so tick, and we'll give it a go.
Yeah, Capcom don't tend to miss now, right? They're just gods. So yeah, the fact this was announced here and like you say, day one Game Pass is very exciting. Don't think we got any date or anything from it, so I assume it's going to be next year at some point.
Or it could get dated tonight, I guess. It's interesting. Obviously, Capcom, showed up quite often with the PlayStation showcase with Resident Evil and Street Fighter and stuff like that. And obviously, they have got deals with Game Pass, but I think it's mostly good for Capcom where like the deals for Game Pass seem to be a new IP, so there's less risk involved. And then if like loads of us play this, and we're still playing Exo Primal or something like months in, and so they could get an Exo Primal 2 or Para, whatever this was called 2, and etc.
Yeah, definitely. Next up, we had Towerborn from the guys that make the Banner Saga, which is Stoic, I believe. This is the game that Jez has kind of leaked the project name for. It's Project Belfry, I think it was called. Like a 2D co-op kind of beat 'em up sort of thing. I don't think it looked like. I thought this was probably like maybe one of the weaker trailers that were shown, in all honesty. But it is co-op and it's coming to Game Pass, so that's 2 instant ticks for me.
Is it a roguelike though? Because they said something about the world changing and stuff like that.
Well, it looked like there was some sort of grid system, so I'm going to assume that big tower that it shows moves around the grid, and then that's the levels, and maybe you've got to clear the grid to bring back the goodness to the world. That's my what I'm going to assume happens there. But I didn't think it looked like particularly amazing, but it is co-op, so that might be its one saving grace.
Indeed.
Next up, we've got Still Wakes the Deep, which was like a first-person horror game, I think, on an oil rig.
Is it from the?
It's from Chinese Room.
Yeah.
Who's the Chinese Room? It's like
Firewatch?
No, they did. Everybody's Gone to the Rapture was their last game, I believe.
Okay, which was a PlayStation exclusive.
Yeah.
It's again not a game for me, but it looked good.
Oh god, no! This is the anti-Dave game, isn't it?
It looked good, and it's cool.
It did look good.
I feel they haven't done anything since Everyone's Gone to the Rapture. I don't.
Is Everyone's Gone to the Rapture good, Pinky? Is that it?
For a walking sim, it was fairly good.
Okay.
I've played better, but I've also played much, much worse. So
put that on the box. And that is a Game Pass, and it's apparently early next year. Another like indie one that was shown.
Actually, the last game might have been Little Orpheus. The Apple Arcade one that then came.
That's not a real game, so let's carry on.
Yeah, fuck Apple Arcade, right, Pengy? Next one, indie game, Dungeons of Hinterberg was shown.
Looks like that cool ass Zelda.
Yes, it does. It looked really good, I thought.
Someone's just gone, must have watched our podcast and this massive Das, he really wants dungeons in his Zelda game. Which is all dungeons.
All right, and what does he love? He loves indie games. So let's bring it to Game Pass.
A female protagonist, right? Shell shaded. That's cool, like skateboarding mechanics, sort of thing going on. It just looked great. I thought everything they showed, they kept showing more stuff. I was like, that looks fun. That looks fun.
Yeah, that does look. It does look pretty good. It just look like my cup of tea.
Yeah, definitely. And that is obviously Game Pass early next year, apparently. Again, on the live service stuff, they showed some Elder Scrolls expansion, which I swear they've shown quite a few times.
They have. That game also still looks good, but also don't have the time to even remotely get into it.
Oh, God, no.
Next up, what game was that?
Elder Scrolls Online.
Elder Scrolls Necrom.
Oh yeah, there's in the Morrowind.
It's Morrowind, yeah.
Sort of thing as well.
Next up, we had City Skyline 2 was shown, which they announced at that event that they kind of partnered with. I forgot
With
the publisher's
Paradox.
name. Paradox,
Paradox,
yeah. Now that was coming to
Yeah.
Game Pass. They finally gave it
Just-
a date, which is October 24th.
Yeah, because that was the thing. Didn't Paradox have a game recently just come out that looked quite good, and it's not in Game Pass? I was very annoyed about. I can't remember what it
Was
was.
it Age of Wonders?
Yeah, that was the one. It looked quite good from the trailer from the Paradox showcase, and it's not in Game Pass.
Yeah.
Indeed. But yes, City Skyline 2 looks good. City Skyline 1 Remastered is in Game Pass, so if you like those type of games, there's plenty for them. They work a lot better as part of PC Game Pass, to be honest, but having console ports as well is not a bad look at all.
And obviously, one of the 6,000 games in October.
Yes.
And I am happy that it's got a date because I have that on Fantasy Critic, and that is going to be points.
It really will be.
And then last, according to this list, I believe, we had Don't Nod's game revealed, which is the climbing game, which has got a really bad name. I don't really know how I'm meant to say this. Is it Justin? Jusen? I don't know.
We're going to call it Don't Nod Climb.
Terrible name for a game that looked really good, I thought.
Look like the kind of indie trash you two like, so I'll let you two talk about it.
Yeah, well, to me, it kind of just looked like a 3D platformer, but like around actual sort of like climbing mechanics. I thought it looked really good. Art style was really good.
And I do love climbing in video games.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was everything. That was the show,
yes.
boys.
Overwatch 2. There was the premium content for that.
No, yeah, that's not on it.
Yeah, that was chosen to be omitted for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Poor Blizzard. Yeah, I feel like there was one other game, Craigo.
Well, if there was, then it was not. Did I skip past it? I skipped past it because I thought we'd talk about the end and I'd forgotten. And then obviously we had the Starfield, the showcase, boys, which was very long. It must have been about 45 minutes. It felt like, to me, it felt almost like, like you go around your niece, and it's like Christmas, right? And they've got all their Christmas presents, and they're trying to show you everything, and it's just like a scat, like, right, I want to show you this. It kind of felt like that. There's like so much going on, so many mechanics. I thought it looked ridiculously good, like almost too good to be true. Personally, like they kept showing the shooting, and I was like, God, that shooting looks a long way away from Fallout 4, which was the last one of the games that I played. I like graphically, it looked incredible, and all the mechanics they kept showing looked great. Like ship builder, which looked amazing. The bases, which looked amazing. Yeah, it just looked phenomenal. I thought maybe a bit long. It lost me a bit towards the end. But yeah, what they showed looked very good.
Yeah, it just looks like the game, doesn't it? Really, it's one of those like. Obviously, I think Todd was on IGN afterwards, and I think he said it's 4K 30 and 1440p 30. But if that's what they showed it, then I don't think it's going to be an issue because it looked smooth as fuck. But I just want to play this game now, Craigo. It's one of those where like I wasn't really sold, and I think I've said that on podcast before. Where I was like, to me, it just looks like Fallout in space. But now that we've actually watched it, it looks like Fallout, Skyrim, No Man's Sky, Cyberpunk, everything in space.
Yeah,
it looks sick, but it's like I am terrified that this is going to be like 200 hours. Like, this looks so much.
No way it's going to be less than 100 hours. No way. Like, I mean, obviously, we're going to get me and Craig at least, and probably Pengels as well, big Xbox fanboys, so we're going to be getting the 5 days early access expansion pass shenanigans to give us even more time.
I'm not sold on the expansion pass for this compared to Forza, because Forza I know what I'm going to get from previous Forzas. Like I'm going to get cars like, oh, this week I'm getting a Porsche, this next week I'm getting a Ferrari. Well, with this, there's DLC story content. I can't remember because it's coming later. I can't remember what its name's like. Will that be any good? Like, Shivering Isles and stuff was really good for Oblivion, but that was a long time ago. I played that. So not as sure if I get the expansion for this compared to Forza. Out of the, if had to pick one, for instance.
Yeah, and obviously they also announced the watch, which looked really badass.
That's like 240 quid for that special edition, I believe.
I know, but watches are ridiculously expensive. They announced the headset, which looked really cool, and they announced the controller officially, which looks amazing. Which I believe me and Dave have both immediately pre-ordered.
We haven't. It's actually coming on Wednesday this week for me.
Yeah,
so.
that's really strange that it's like that fast. I think mine's Wednesday as well.
So we will be showcasing those controllers, I'm sure, on the next main episode of the show. But
Yeah.
I'm all in. Like I said, I mean, if I'm willing to spend 15 of my good-earned pounds on Redfall's expansion, I'm fully ready to give Starfield a go. Like you said, it looks too good to be true. So we'll see. It's still a couple of months out. I suspect we'll actually see some more gameplay tomorrow, and over the coming months. So yeah, it's now kind of a countdown for me until that September 1st, probably. Like Pengel said earlier in the show, you can actually buy the premium edition upgrade on Amazon at the moment.
Yeah,
So it's like,
like
I might even
a
get a
weird
steelbook and go crazy. But yeah, really, really very impressed by that showing, and I think it was the perfect way to end the show. And they were very clever to announce that's what they were going to do beforehand, because then we weren't expecting anything else. And even the small trailer they showed in the middle of the show, I thought was good. So yeah, really,
Yeah,
like I said, it's unfortunate for the likes of Cyberpunk that DLC is going to be in the midst of this, because if it hooks and like we're on every night chatting about what we're doing and we're playing the game, Craigie, like I can see hundreds of hours of this game. Like it's Witcher 3 levels for you, I think. Like Assassin's Creed Valhalla levels for me. Like it could just be, it takes over, like completely takes over.
It was the fact they kept showing the different worlds, and it's like they showed the that like cowboy, like Western world. I was like, that looks amazing. That looks like its own game. Do you know what I mean? Like,
well, they literally showed Cyberpunk, didn't they? They were like, "Oh, here's Neon,"
and they showed
and this is
Cyberpunk as
literally
well.
Cyberpunk, and you're like, "Okay."
Yeah, it's crazy, absolutely crazy.
But yeah, that was the show. So, like we said, we've given our scores. Are we still consistent with those scores now that we've talked about it again?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I think it was very, very good, personally.
Yeah, so I don't think it could have been beaten really for what there was. But
especially like, compared to some of the other shows we've watched. Like,
oh, I mean, if we actually ranked them and then scored them, I think it would be even higher for all of us.
Yeah.
I don't think there's been anything yet that's come close. Obviously, we've got Capcom this evening. We've just had Ubisoft Forward, which we'll talk about on the main show, and obviously we will have the Xbox show, the additional show tomorrow, which might help it along. At some point, Nintendo might do something. We don't know.
Yeah. They've got to, surely.
And the only really real loser so far is probably PlayStation. I don't think they've had a lot to show on, especially not on their own show. It seems weird that the biggest news was in Keighley's show, but that is a discussion for another day. So if you've made it this far, let us know how you ranked the showcase, and let us know if you will be picking up anything Starfield related, just in general, really, because I think me and Craig are going to be gushing over a controller again on Wednesday. I've just bought a £70 remix controller, so yep.
You never have enough.
I think I'm on to like 4 Series X controllers now.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. But there we go. But yes, thank you for watching. If you like the show, hit a like, hit a subscribe. It does help the channel grow. If you want more Xbox podcasts, let us know. We'll see you next time.
Bye.